5 reasons why expats are leaving Mexico are really important to discuss right now. We're seeing trends coming around here, and we thought we'd address a few of them today. Hola, everyone. It's Aging Grateful. I'm Bobbi.
I'm Cedric.
So we'll begin with number 1.
Which is the cost of living.
Cost of living.
Yes, and that hasn't really been a secret. It's been going up the last few years in Mexico, year over year, just like probably everywhere else in the world.
Right. I think gone are the days when people say, oh my gosh, you can go to Mexico and live really, really cheap or less, a lot less than you can in the United States. That might not be true depending upon where in Mexico you're going.
Yes.
We live in San Miguel de Allende, and so we can definitely say that there are shifts and things changing in pricing with regards to cost of living. It doesn't just mean renting or buying properties. We're talking about food, clothing, just general things that you would probably be needing in your day-to-day. There are slight increases that are going on in Mexico.
Yeah, and then, with the dollar fluctuating, it just adds to it, right? If the dollar's weak, then
the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, the U.S. dollar, then that price starts going up real quick. So it definitely adds up.
Absolutely. So not discouraging anybody, but just knowing that one of the reasons why you may start seeing people leaving Mexico is because the cost of living is starting to shift a bit and increase for them. Like their budget, their budget may have been, the year before last is a lot different today than then. And so if you're trying to stay on a specific budget and you've been doing that for years, and now the things that you're used to are increasing, that might be something that's making people think about or rethink about living in Mexico. Which would bring us to our next point.
The political climate.
We don't address any of this stuff on our channel. You haven't seen videos or anything like that about what's going on in where we're from, but it is something that we are just lightly going to touch on here in this video because we're seeing it. It's a reason.
Yeah, and in the political climate, when I say that, particularly with the U.S., there are expats that are saying it's too close to the U.S., so they want to go further away. Whether it's further South America or Thailand is seems like the hot spot now. Different places.
Yes.
So that's what we mean from the political climate.
Yes, because it's not knowing. I think that's another thing. The not knowing of what's going on in different areas are causing people to think about maybe it's better that we are just away from the whole thing totally, and not wanting to deal with that in its entirety, regardless of what's going on. So people just want to go ahead and just leave it all together, try and figure out a place further away from all the things that are going on, someplace that maybe not even in the crosshairs of anything, and looking at living there.
Yeah, because I think the not knowing is the nail on the head, because people don't want to set down roots, and then with not knowing what it's going to be like 4 months from now, with
the state of
everything is. Mexico may start making people leave. You don't know. You don't know. That's the whole point, right?
You don't know.
You don't know.
So some people just
don't
deal with it. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Whatever happens, I'm not gonna be here. So it doesn't make a difference, right? So we're seeing a little bit of that shift happening here in Mexico, which brings us to our third point, which has been some things that have been happening for a while, but you're noticing it more so now, which is lack of job opportunities.
Yeah, I've said this on several of our videos back in the day. It's like, I think people have this fairy tale from watching movies that you could just, oh, I'm gonna go to said country and I'm gonna work in this coffee shop and then I'm gonna fall in love with the guy and then we're gonna be living.
You mean the Lifetime movie?
Yeah, the Lifetime movies.
Hallmark.
Yeah, but the reality of it is a lot of countries you just can't go work in because the jobs are reserved for their citizens.
Yes.
Right. And on top of that, if you were to get a local job in Mexico, it's probably not going to pay that much at all. So you may not even think it's worth it, depending on your lifestyle.
Or pay what you're used to.
Or pay what you're used to. Yeah.
Also, too, another thing to consider is not to go back to political climate or anything, but what maybe once a remote job or a remote opportunity, that you were able to get. A lot of companies or organizations are telling people to come back to work. And so whereas you may have been a person who was working from home or remote work, no longer may not have that option. So you're seeing people go back to where they come from because of that. And, needing to find some other remote work or something like that. So a lot of times they may have to go back.
Yeah, and then local work is even harder because you're competing with the locals. And a lot of the culture in Mexico is they already have somebody that can do, they got a family or a cousin that can do whatever you're trying to do. They got somebody that already knows how to do it. So
absolutely.
Good luck competing with that. And it's nothing, negative. It's just that's just how it's set up.
Right. And also, not discouraging anybody from pursuing the entrepreneurial ventures and stuff like that. Definitely do it. And enjoy the process. But we're just saying that sometimes if that is your goal and your reason to get over here to get a job in Mexico, that might not be as easy as you think is what we're saying. And some people are finding that is the case, that it has been hard for them. And so they have chosen to actually leave Mexico and maybe pursue some other options.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which brings us to number 4.
Yeah. It's language barrier and cultural differences. This one, let me say this, it can start off not being that big of a deal, depending on how much you have to do or how much you need to communicate
or interact
with others,
and also depending upon where you are in Mexico.
Yeah.
Spanish is, of course, the language. We know this, and the culture is maybe different than where you have come from, and we get that. And some people handle it very well.
Yeah.
Like, we're learning. We're being respectful. We're immersing ourselves in the culture. We are really trying to learn the language. We're trying to actually have local friends and get out there and engage and even work in some capacity in the various industries here in Mexico. And so some people give it the good old college try. And
freshman year college.
Straight freshman. And realize very quickly that it may be a little bit more than they bargained for.
Absolutely.
And for some people, it may be the frustration of, it may take you some time. Look, we've been around for a while, and it's still challenging with learning the language. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, I was, like I said before, I was naive thinking that, I just hang around, a bunch of locals and just pick it up. But that is not even remotely, the case. And there's some days, where I get more frustrated than other days.
Yes.
Some days it's kind of clicking.
Yeah.
And then some days it's not. And then if you got to do any type of real communication
to get things done.
Yes, like any service related oh my gosh, yeah, it can definitely be a challenge.
But we are learning also to give ourselves grace.
Yeah.
Okay, because granted, we've been on this earth for many years. okay, and been speaking only English for these many years. And can I be clear that sometimes, even people struggle with the U.S. language who are United States citizens in this case. You got to give yourself some grace. And I think some people just get to the point where they just get overwhelmed, frustrated, and then they're out.
Yeah, they just don't want to deal with it. I've seen people come say, like, I just can't. I just want to go somewhere where they speak English because it's just too much.
Or, this thing with mañana. We have this thing with mañana. So there's different... People know what I'm talking about when you say there's different meanings of mañana. And so for some people who are just so used to everything being like this, like clockwork, on time, a specific date, and sometimes that does not necessarily happen that way here. Like if somebody was to say that they're going to come by and do something, it may not happen exactly at the time that they say that they are going to be coming, right? Mm-hmm. Or there's things that are happening, like the celebrations and stuff like that they have here, which we absolutely love. The celebrations, they have the fireworks going, and some people cannot deal with that. It's a little bit too much for them, or they weren't anticipating it to be what they thought it was. And so sometimes that discourages people too as well. Like, some people come here and they be like, I need the quietest part of town that I can find. And I'm like, well, good luck. Mm-hmm. Because this is Mexico. They're embracing and celebrating the culture and having a good time. As a dog or two may be barking, a chicken, a rooster maybe. These are things that are happening, and then people are just like, I can't do it.
Yeah. Or if you maybe an introvert and you don't like to speak to people when you're out and about, you're gonna have a hard time.
You are, because
first of all, people don't think you're rude.
Yeah, everybody is friendly. When I tell you everybody's friendly, look, we family. Okay, if I'm on the street and I see you walking down the street, you better say bon dia, okay? Because we family. We family at this point. They letting you know. They're letting you know we're family. We welcome you. So if you can't cut that,
yeah,
absolutely. And we're seeing that people are leaving because of language barrier and or cannot adapt to the culture or lifestyle that is Mexico. That's beautiful Mexico. Which would lead us to our final reason.
Number 5 is homesickness.
Woo!
Homesickness is real. The longer you're away from home, and you start missing birthday parties, and maybe you got grandkids growing up, or
celebrations.
Your parents, maybe they're growing up, or growing up.
Yes, you're right. Maybe parents are growing up.
Maybe parents are growing up. Because your parents kind of hit that teenage
it's
year
like
all over again.
Benjamin Button. They go back. But yeah, anyway. Yeah.
But yeah, just different things that you miss out on, and you may get homesick.
Or you just miss the things that maybe you had access to, or the places you used to go, or maybe some of the activities that you used to do.
Friends and all that.
Processes, even some people miss, as crazy as it sounds, some people just miss the day-to-day monotonous processes that they have, that they thought they didn't like, or now they realize that they miss. So homesickness is a very real thing. It is absolutely something that people experience one time or another, and then some people really just cannot do it.
Yeah.
They cannot do it anymore. It's just too much. They really truly long for what they may have had, and so that becomes one of the reasons why you may see somebody be like, well, I'm out. Peace. I'm going back.
Yeah.
And so these are some really, really great reasons, and we're seeing this happening. But there's nothing wrong if that's your choice. You know what I'm saying? These are not pros or cons or anything like that. Negatives, positives. These are just things that we are seeing, and some reasons why we are seeing expats leaving Mexico.
Yeah.
So if you found this video enjoyable or thought it was something to talk about, a good topic, do us a solid.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Or if you got some other reasons that we didn't mention, let us know in the comments.
Put them in the comments. Let's talk about it. Because are you guys seeing expats leaving or hearing people moving to other places outside of Mexico? We're curious to know, boots on the ground, we're here, but we also want to be able to hear, what's going on where you are. Is it maybe expats leaving these other areas too? That's something to talk about, right? So also make sure that you hit the notification bell to be alerted of our next videos as well. And until next time.
Deuces.